Well, how's everyone doing? I'm just home, and I thought I would do a video about the big football news of the day. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp has announced he will leave Liverpool at the end of the season. Um, and yeah, I'm still absolutely stunned, to be honest. Whether you follow Liverpool or you don't, I think a lot of people will agree it was massively shocking news. Like, I actually can't think of more shocking football news ever in terms of a manager. I know, like, Alex Ferguson left, but given his age at that time and the fact that he had just won the league, I think Klopp's is more shocking. Um, Especially considering the timing of the season and how well Liverpool's actually doing. So yeah, I'm still stunned, and I think now's not the time to go into like reflections and stuff like that. On the best moment of Klopp's era and like generally like reflecting on his entire tenure where things were the best, where things could have been improved. But I think at this stage it's fair to say he's a Liverpool legend. For me, definitely top three Liverpool managers of all time. Will deserve a statue, definitely. In his tenure so far, and I may stress so far because there's still a lot that could be won or lost. For me, his tenure so far is at least a 9 out of 10. So yeah, he's definitely a Liverpool legend. Um, but I thought I would just like especially discuss in this video, as I'm sure a lot of other people on YouTube and whatever will be doing today and in subsequent days, is the direction Liverpool go moving forward. Firstly, I believe the club definitely, and this is imperative, has to appoint a world class sporting director or director of football or whatever you want to call it. I actually think that is possibly more important than the actual next manager, if that makes sense. The reason why is because the way modern football is going, Man City do it, Man United is going that route now with under Sir Jim Radcliffe. And Liverpool up until practically 18 months ago with Michael Edwards had a director of football with massive input. Um, and I believe the big decision now is appointing a world class director of football who will oversee the appointment of a manager, but also ban and sell players moving forward. Um, because the world of football we live in nowadays, managers come and go, but the sporting directors are more or less the constant. Um, they buy players who they believe will be at the club for years to come, and it's up to the coach, manager, to improve those players and get the best out of them. So I believe the sporting director is now the priority at the minute. I believe that appointment would have to be made by April. To give the new person in charge a month or two to really go out there and put his stamp on who they want as a new manager. I don't know many names out there. I know there's that guy Mitchell, but I've heard rumours about him going to Man United. There's that guy at Newcastle, Dan Ashworth. There's Michael Edwards. Could he return? I'm sure there's others out there as well. But yeah, I believe that's a key decision. Secondly, before getting into possible managers, I think this is absolutely make or break time for Liverpool's owners, FSG. Um, I know there's a lot of people out there who want them out anyway, and that's fair. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are FSG in, so to speak. But I believe now there is now no hiding place. It's make or break time. Klopp was their safety blanket. In my opinion, he actually overachieved at certain points given the lack of funding and whatever. Um, but now there is zero excuse now. There is no safety blanket, as I said. They have to deliver, and by deliver I mean they have to appoint that sporting director, world class one. They have to allow that sporting director to appoint the world class manager or coaches or coach is. They have to provide the funding necessary to rebuild the team, um, and move the club continually forward to compete for the major honours, not just top four. Liverpool's too big to be battling top four. And then continually improve off the pitch, whether that's make additional improvements to Anfield, which they've done well, or build like a hotel or infrastructure or bigger museums or supermarkets or something on Stanley Park, or continually improving the commercial direction of the club. They need to, it's make or break time. They need to deliver, no excuses, and if it doesn't, they'll have to get out. It's as simple as that. But yeah, on to basically the main point of the video after all that is the possible choices for next manager. There is a load of obviously managers out there, but I believe at the minute there is 2 world-class managers, and they are Jurgen Klopp. Well, 3. They are Jurgen Klopp, Carlo Ancelotti, and Pep Guardiola. Obviously Jurgen Klopp is leaving Liverpool. Pep Guardiola won't come, and I don't think FSG will go for Ancelotti, given his age, but also what he would want as a manager. Whether it be like resources and stuff, and it's Carlo Ancelotti. He's brilliant, don't get me wrong. I think he's more of a short-term solution. And that sort of leads into other options out there at the minute. There is Antonio Conte and Jose Mourinho. Both are serial winners, obviously. Both are great managers, again, obviously. But again, especially Mourinho, has been more short-termism, and it's not the way I want Liverpool to go. Obviously, I want them to win in the short term. Don't get me wrong, because they're in a good position now, and they have a lot of top players under like 25, especially. So they can't win at the moment, but you also want to think forward. So I believe those two. Conte, on the other hand, I don't know, but causes a bit of conflict off the pitch with owners, and I don't know how that would work. So I reckon I would rule those two out. And I'm just going to name names off here quickly of who should be ruled out. Initially, and by that I mean the likes of Steven Gerrard. For me, he's not good enough as a manager. Hasn't proven it whatsoever. Did well as Rangers manager. But it's the SBL. No disrespect. Then obviously flopped at Aston Villa, and is flopping thus far at the IFAC in Saudi Arabia. So I will count him out instantly. And then there's others out there who shouldn't be anywhere near the Liverpool job moving forward. The likes of Rafa Benitez, even Pep Linders, Liverpool's assistant manager. Those ones for me, they're not good enough. Or not, probably not good enough's not the word. It's not the time. Liverpool demands like cream of the crop. But yeah, then moving on to like real options, I would say. Firstly, I would say the big sort of one at the minute, every Liverpool fan wants, I would be one of them as well, is Xabi Alonso. Obviously, he's a former player at the club, possible legend at the club, if you consider him a legend. For me, he was one of my favourite players. Just unbelievable to watch. But just obviously he's proven himself as a manager at the minute at Bayern Leverkusen, top of the league, unbeaten. I'm not sure if they're still in the cups. I know they're in the Europa League, so they're having a brilliant season. But even before that, it's just the schooling he's had. Xabi Alonso looks the type that he's very smart. But just the schooling he's had as a player, that I reckon he would have taken on as a manager. He was under Rafa Benitez at Liverpool. He was under Del Bosque at Spain. He was under Jose Mourinho at Real Madrid and Carlo Ancelotti. Then he was under Pep Guardiola at Bayern Munich. So you're talking 4 or 5 of the best managers ever, and especially over the last 2 decades. He was a key player under each of them. And considering that he would probably take traits of every one of them, that can only stand in good stead. Plus, the other benefits of that is he's young, so build a team moving forward. I can't really say, he's going to play exciting football, because he's only been in management 2 years. I know he was like Real Sociedad B, but top level. But the early signs is he plays great football, and more importantly, he'll have the support of the fans. Um, and what I mean, they'll give him time to implement stuff. Yeah, so he would be the standout candidate at the minute. The other ones on the radar would possibly be Ruben Amorim. I can't pronounce his name, but the Sporting Lisbon manager. Um, De Zerbi at Brighton, and possibly another name out there would be Graham Potter. And all three for me are relatively unproven. They would be sort of risky, although would be willing to give them a chance. I don't think it would be at the top of many Liverpool's priorities at the minute, but I think Graham Potter. Obviously, everything went wrong at Chelsea, but off the pitch, especially, it was a mess. Still is a mess. And I don't think it's fair on him to really rate him on his team at Chelsea. Before that, at Brighton and at Ostersund's, he done a fantastic job. Swansea as well. Plays very good possession-based football, and also there's a lot of Liverpool players at the minute in the current squad who I think will suit him. The likes of Harvey Elliott, McAllister, obviously, Ryan Gravenberch, all the possession-based players would suit Potter, I think. De Zerbi obviously taking on his players at Brighton and put a new twist on it. Like, has been more direct from the wings, and he did very well at Sassuolo as well. So he'd been a similar boat, although you would have to negotiate a fee with Brighton in that regard. While Graham Potter would be free. And who was the other one I said there? Oh, Ruben Amorim. Again, I'm not sure if he's had another job other than Sporting Lisbon. But I've watched Sporting Lisbon a few times, whether it be Champions League or Europa League. His teams play very good football. But again, like the other two, relatively unproven, especially at the top level, and it would be a risk. So that would be those three clubbed into one. Then there's other ones out there who could possibly come under the radar. There's Unai Emery at Aston Villa. Top manager, obviously having a great season at the minute. Well, great 18 months or whatever it is at Aston Villa. But even before that, I think if you take away his Arsenal period, which he did okay, like he got the Europa League final and whatever. It's fantastic at Sevilla. Done a very good job at Valencia and whatever. So yeah, he's one. Slightly more defensive. Would be similar to Benitez. Very nice though, polite. So yeah, he would be a candidate. Then there's Julian Nagelsmann. I know he's the current manager of Germany, I believe, but given that there's the tournament ends in July, I think it's happened before where a manager would come after. Obviously he's young, but again, well, he's managed Bayern Munich, so he's managed a huge club. Obviously things didn't work out entirely the plan there, but did an okay job, and he did a fantastic job at Leipzig. But I'm sort of a bit skeptical of going from one German to another German. Nothing against German managers. I think if you're going to go down the route of continuity, I think you're better off, even though I do not want this, you're better off giving it to somebody like Pep Linders. So then the original Bill Shankly, the Bob Paisley thing would carry on, so the old boot room days. But I believe you're better off just going in a new direction, and letting a new man come in, new culture, bringing in his new ideas. Possible other candidates out there would be Diego Simeone. Fantastic manager. He definitely is. Done an unbelievable job of Atletico Madrid, but again, there's negatives there. Well, I'll say the other positives as well. He's very passionate. Very similar to Klopp in a way, like on the sidelines. The negatives is, I've never really been a fan of his football, but it always did seem to look as if it would suit the original Premier League, like rough and steady. But never really been a fan of his football, even though he's a top manager. So that would be a completely different direction from more like Klopp's expansive attacking football towards more reserved, tight. That would be that option. Then there would be that guy, I forget his name. I'm just going to say the club, but he's doing a fantastic job in my opinion. They got Bournemouth. He could be a dark horse, because I know he did really well at like Real Vallecano, I believe. For me, he's originally put in style of play at Bournemouth, playing very good football. And if you're going to go down a younger manager route, similar with the done with Brendan Rodgers, he could be a candidate. And finally, the last one I'll throw in there, I reckon it's a bit unlikely, but Big Ange at Spurs. Obviously, Liverpool's far bigger club than Spurs. You can disagree all you want. There's no disagreement in my opinion. Liverpool is miles bigger. Obviously, he's already had a terrific start at Spurs. But I also follow Celtic. Done an unbelievable job at Celtic. It's the state of play, but also his connection with the fans. He's a Liverpool fan. That could be a possibility, but again, there's still this season to play out. Very tricky dealing with Daniel Levy as well. And yeah, so I reckon that would be another unlikely scenario. So at the minute, if I was to put it down to, obviously, just to summarise, I think the main priority is the sporting director. That has to be the main point. Priority. Moving forward, get that person in as soon as possible. Just let them fire away with their plans, the players they want, the manager they want. That has to be the priority. Number one. Number two, you could argue number one as well, this would be, is FSG. They need to come out, show their ambition here, show the mean business, get these things moving. Liverpool have to be at the top. No excuses. And then finally, summarising the manager aspect, I think obviously the outstanding candidate is Xabi Alonso. I think there's no arguments with that whatsoever. If I was to put my money on the second one, I would actually go Graham Potter. Not necessarily who I want, but I actually heard about before he went to Chelsea, Liverpool liked him. And given that he's available, given that he would want to work or would work under a director of football, given that he's young, knows the players, I think that could be a one to possibly keep an eye on as well. But yeah, if you've watched this video, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you can, drop me a wee subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon. See you later. Bye bye.